going on, guys? Welcome in to another edition of Nebraska Huskers Live. I'm here with Brian, who continues to have vertical video syndrome. I just realized that.
I don't know if I can rotate this thing.
It's all right. We won't mess with the setup too much. We got a rigged up setup over there. Brian's in. He's got a phone on some kind of stand of some sort, so we don't want to mess it up. We don't want to touch it because it might come crashing down. He built it on a house of cards over there. So, but he's still here with us today because we were 9 days away from the season. So, Brian, how's it going, man? Go ahead and explain your whole situation over there.
So we have these ring lights that we use to help with light and color balance
for selfies.
Yeah, and mine has a phone stand, and so because I had to pack my computer and all my podcasting equipment, this is how we're rocking for the next probably the next 3 weeks until our stuff gets sent to us or arrives from the movers. So we move next week, and they're picking everything up right now. So it's gonna be fun.
You love to see it. Love to see it. No, it's great. We love the setup. Regardless, as long as we still get to see that bright smiling face, it's okay.
100%.
But season's 9 days away, man. How you feeling?
Dude, I'm so freaking pumped. I was at work earlier, and I was talking with one of the guys today, and he's not a Nebraska fan. He's just a fan of college football. He's like, what are you thinking? And I go, I just can't wait. I'm just elated with joy. It's gonna be a good year, gonna be a fun year.
Yeah, it was this past weekend was the last weekend I work. I worked weekends. I train clients on weekends over the off season. So that was my cue that it's time to get excited. So, but a lot to talk about going into the season. Of course, we had a good bit of news of recruiting. So, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and top the shelf with that. First off, let me just go ahead and say apologies for the last week's call-in show. My wound has healed, but that wasn't the main crux of the issue. The main crux of the issue was Brian was under the weather as well. And that was a whole lot going on that day, and that kind of put everything back. And then, Friday, we already pushed it back to Friday, and then Friday happened. And it just wasn't feasible for us to get a show off. So this coming Friday, though, it'll be the night before, the coming season, it'll be on Friday nights. So it'll be before the game. So our call-in shows will be leading into the games, as y'all know, for most of the season. So if y'all like that structure, we'll go ahead and leave that as is. But just so y'all know, going into the season, the call-in show will still continue to be on Fridays going forward. So let's just go ahead and dive into the recruiting news here, Brian. Go ahead and take that away for us, because it's looking pretty exciting in the 2027 class.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, Pittman, is it Troy or Tory? I think it's Tory Pittman. My dyslexic kind of switches the O and the R. So huge commitment. I believe Greg Smith, shout out to Greg Smith on Rivals. He was the one that kind of led the charge a couple months ago with that crystal ball pick. This is probably the highest rated recruit in the state of Nebraska of all time. I think Baker Steinkuhler maybe was higher, but he was also a 5-star. You could argue there's one other player that was a 5-star back in the day.
Martin Lucky?
Well, I mean, from the state locally. But a big physical safety. He's 6'1", 6'2"-ish, 190 plus pounds. Yeah. Here's the thing. Nebraska, their pitch to him is not just safety. They are looking at him as potentially a corner because he has really good ball skills. They're also looking at him on the offensive side of the ball at receiver because, like I said, really good ball skills. And I think, when you have this big of a prospect locally from a smaller state, usually it doesn't carry as much weight, right? If you think back when Baker Steinkuhler committed, it didn't really change the landscape in the terms of college recruiting because it was a very much expected commitment. I mean, he had like 4 offers because everybody knew he was going to Nebraska. Now you fast forward to, this day and age, and Nebraska kids are leaving like crazy. And getting him to stay home over offers from LSU and Notre Dame and Bama and every school you can think of in the country, it was very much a shock in the sense where we kind of had no idea this commitment was coming. Nebraska right now, the 2027 class has 2 5-stars committed. And I don't think anyone really thought that was possible. And we're kind of anticipating Trey Taylor and Torrey to be consensus 5 stars. They just haven't completely done the rankings, but they're both kind of in that 5-star range. So this is monster. You got two nationally recognized guys across the country that are committed to Nebraska.
Yep. It's and kind of what we alluded to before, where it's like we started to see kind of the momentum building of getting a lot of these guys, your David Sanders and guys like that, onto campus, guys that we haven't been really getting out for visits, your big 5 stars and stuff like that. And then, eventually down the road that would ultimately lead to commitments. And we thought when the winning came that would be the case. And maybe it's the flirting with the prospect of this being the year of winning. And I think even more so that puts the the pressure on the team this year to make sure that they win, because this is all kind of that snowball effect. These guys are excited about what's coming, and they got to continue that momentum throughout the season. But just kind of alluding a little bit more to what you talked about, and it kind of goes in hand of what we're going to talk about here in a little bit later in terms of aggressive defensive backs. But that's kind of his style. He's one of those guys. He's going to be like you said, he's very versatile. Ball skills are one of the things that make Derek Stingley one of my favorite defensive backs in the NFL to watch, because he's worked on his ball skills since he was 6 years old, and you can see it in elements of his game to where that adds a whole nother aspect of his game to where he baits throws and stuff like that. It when you have a guy who can juggle the defensive back work with the ball skills of wide receiver, it opens up so much more opportunity for what you can do with that player, because you can take a lot more risk with that guy, put him on an island a lot more, because if he's 5 yards off a ball, he's going to play it a lot better than a guy who's never played wide receiver. Ball skills aren't just getting up in the air, getting to the ball and making a catch. Ball skills are timing, they're breaking, understanding the quarterback's movement, when he's going to plant, when he's going to fire, like those type of deals. All of those things are things that go into the mind of a wide receiver that then help them in the defensive backfield. But yeah, like he is just an athlete through and through. But I just think the aggressive, style, good tackling player, I just think he fits the mold of what John Butler, the type of defensive back John Butler wants. It's just a very disciplined and technically sound, like, football player. And that's kind of what you have to be very disciplined. You have to understand the basics to be able to thrive in John Butler's defense. And again, that kind of prefaces what I'm going to go into in a little bit when we talk about that.
I think too, just to kind of backtrack too about like just the grand scheme of 2027 recruiting. When you get Pittman, you've got that big vocal national leader on the defensive side of the ball to go along with your offensive recruiter and Trey Taylor. And these are guys, like, they're in communications with the Ahmad Hudsons. They're in communications with all these other big prospects. And now you're going to have two legitimate dudes and every other prospect's ears about this place is different. And like you said earlier about the snowball effect is, if we get into October, Nebraska's a top 15 team, top 20 team, you're going to start seeing those recruits for 2027. I mean, we're going to have a really busy fall potentially filming 2027 commitment videos, because I think that's how aggressively they're pushing for this 2027 class to really start rolling.
Agreed. Yeah. Bone Leg Corn Fed, Go Big Red. Appreciate you hopping in here, man. Bone Leg getting here early. Jeff Gould, Go Big Red. David Hudak, sorry. Brian looks different with no hat. Is it the glistening to shine up his forehead for us?
There is literally a light right there. You can tell. See?
Okay. I have no room to talk up here. So Mr. Brightside is in the chat. What's going on, man? Not as many comments as usual. We still got the same people. Still got people in here. So drop y'all's comments. If you're excited for the season, go ahead. I mean, now's the time to talk about it. Let's go ahead and talk just real quickly about the Cincinnati game. Over the course of this offseason, just because I felt like, midway through the offseason, and again, normally we go through this process of like, oh, we're drinking the Kool-Aid going into the season, right? I've said time and time again, this offseason feels a little different, but for some reason, I'm getting my prediction and my confidence in my prediction has gotten stronger, not only about the season, but again about week one, about how I feel like this team's going to do. But I am flirting with, a 10-win prediction right now. I'm keeping it at 9, but I think this team's going to go handle business pretty well against Cincinnati, and I think they're going to win by multiple scores. I've held that pretty much the majority of this offseason. I think they're going to win by multiple scores, but.
I was talking to a colleague this morning at work, and he mentioned, Cincinnati's, a pretty decent little team. And I go, man, I think it was the first time I've really just like without thinking, just said, I think Nebraska wins by 17. I don't know. It just, as we get closer to the season, I do this every year where I start sipping that Kool-Aid, and the next thing you know, I'm chugging the Kool-Aid. But like you said, it just feels different. And it's because there's not a lot of outside noise from the program. There's not a lot of noise coming out of the program outside of what the coaches are saying. And I think this is the first time in a long time where I actually believe what they're saying, in the sense where they're not playing the political game where, we're making progress. It's getting better each day. Like, you're talking about 2 fall scrimmages where Coach Rule's come out and said, yeah, the offense is good. And the little information you do get outside of the coach speak is you hear that same sentiment where this offense might carry this team a little bit farther than we think.
Yeah, I agree, and I think in a lot of facets, like, I think there were things that we had questions on, and positions that we had questions on that maybe we feel like we've somewhat gotten answers to an extent. The running back position, we are feeling better about that. The interior D line, I kind of feel the same about that, but again, not one of those things that was a concern, more so the experience. But we're going to talk about the defense a little bit more. But yeah, finally a team that feels like I feel like on any given game week going into the season, I feel like either one of these sides could be the hero, and that's something that we haven't felt in a long time. It's been one or the other. And I think this season in general, it feels like this. I think it's also more so just the feeling of belief that the players and the coaches have in themselves that just resonates without them saying. Like, there's just something about the overall vibe that I think gives me that kind of that quiet false extra confidence, that it's just like a nuance that we haven't picked up on before, I feel like. And I feel like probably a lot of people are like, oh, of course, we hear this every year. I'm trying to describe a feeling, and it's hard to describe it. But I can tell you last season, I was not this fired up going into the season. I was not getting extra confident going into the season. I was more so, the gun shy X last year that I'm kind of getting on people for being this year, because I feel like we can use that whole, we'll believe it when we see it, every single prediction for everything we do, that type of thing. So, but yeah, it's just this belief that I feel like is innate in the players and the coaches, and I feel like they believe. I feel like it's almost like you feel they believe or they trust what they're saying, and that resonates. That authenticity resonates with us.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Was it just feels very spread out across the board in terms of the sentiment, the verbiage, the confidence, and it's whether it's Deshaun McCullough, who was speaking to the media recently, or John Butler or Terry Braden. It's just it's a very uniform front in the sense that message is consistent across the board, and that's what makes me a little bit more confident as we are, what you said, 9 days out. And and so you don't have the typical, like I was talking about earlier, that coach speak where it's just you're kind of just saying stuff to say stuff with no purpose. It feels like everything is very done with the right intent, I guess is the way to put it. And they're speaking confidently because they are confidently, but they're not, overdoing it in a sense.
Yeah, there's authentic belief. And another thing too, if Nebraska fans kind of take a step back and realize, like, luck, call it what it is. Like, luck is just random chance, right? And of course, we've had our past luck and our past outcomes. But let's be honest, what was that? Execution, right? It's execution. At the end of the day, what caused those things is flawed execution. This is a staff that I believe is fixing the technical fundamental flaws, fatal flaws that were in the execution. They simplified it this offseason, and now it seems like a well-oiled machine. Again, the coaches are in place now. We had questions coming into the last season, about Satterfield and all that stuff. I feel like a lot of those questions are gone, and there's less negative marks and pointing to and say, so another thing I thought about is like, okay, we're not pointing to any of these and saying like, this is a negative. We're saying, this is these two position groups don't have experience. They lack experience. Not that they're concerned. And I think this is the first time we've been able to say that about the staff and about the team. Again, coming in last year, we had a lot of questions about the staff too. Those questions are gone as well. And I think it's another thing we don't talk about enough.
One thing I don't think we talk about enough. We talk about our belief in Coach Raiola and our belief, and then I'm sorry to change the position group, but it kind of, this thought just kind of spurned on me as you were talking there at the end. We don't talk about his position group as enough, but we also don't talk about his coaching style, like his fundamental style, and how we've heard constantly, like how it is very different than what most coaches will teach. Now you're pairing that with, he's going into what, year 4, year 5, with the same offensive line group. And so now you're getting that experience of his fundamentals and his teaching going into year 4, year 5, whatever year it is. Those guys have been there the whole time. And so I think that's part of why you'll see that jump from the offensive line this year. Again, I'm sorry to change the topic quite like that, but it just, like, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, this is very relatable.
No, for sure. And speaking of the offensive line again, I think I see a comment here, Michael. Yeah, the O-line depth is the best it's been in a very long time.
Yeah,
and we have to agree with that 100%. Agree with not only that, I think it's a combination not only the depth, but the biggest word I'm going to use is versatility. If you get a versatile offensive line, you can do a lot of things well. I do know that's one of the things that the Texans were trying to do this offseason. They got rid of Tunsil. They want a lot of guys who can move around the line. They want versatile guys. And, that's happening a lot more nowadays. You get some of these linemen, because some linemen are you get these big power linemen or you get these athletic linemen. Now you get a mix of kind of the blend of the two, and it's kind of the best of both worlds. And that's kind of what it's going to. And this line needs to be, athletic. It needs to be quick to be able to flow properly in this offensive system. But I think, again, the offensive system is going to take pressure off the offensive line. The offensive line is going to take pressure off of Dylan. Dylan's going to take pressure off of them. All of this is kind of working hand in hand. And I think that, in and of itself is going to help. I mean, the one thing that's going to help depth more than anything is getting the offense in a rhythm and not putting them on their heels, putting their backs against a wall in tough situations. So I think it's scheme and everything on top of the O-line being the best it's been and the depth being the best it's been in a long time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they took a little bit of a hit with Gibson Pyle's injury, looking like he's going to be done for the year. But versatility is important, like you mentioned. Who's really versatile? Turner Corcoran. Is he great? No. Is he good? He's all right. But what you're losing with Gibson Pyle, you can slide Turner Corcoran over to right guard. I don't think he's going to be a starter by any means, obviously, but he'll be a guy that Nebraska can use his versatility at pretty much any spot where an injury pops up, like it just has Gibson Pyle, unfortunately, because I think he was making a really good run for a long time in Nebraska.
Agreed. All right, so next topic, we can either go to our Butler topic, our uniforms, or Dylan. What do you think?
Let's do the uniforms, because apparently, according to X, it's a hot topic.
And people are posting alternate uniforms again, as if me and James Pruitt didn't have a competition on X like a while, just recently, actually. But yes, they unveiled the all black unis. And I'll go ahead and give you my take on them. I am a fan, huge fan. I'm
Yeah,
just going
I
to say
love all
that.
black uniforms. I just wish there was the Nebraska logo somewhere on it. I didn't see it.
That I don't think there is. Well, the helmet, but
Yeah,
of course.
but like
But
the jersey
let me
itself, I
let
think
me
it's just
pull it
the
up here.
Adidas logo, and then it's the Big Ten logo on the chest.
Yeah, let me pull it up here, and I'm sure everybody has seen. But yeah, so kind of all black, and I don't see any Husker. Up there's on the pants, but not on the jersey that I see.
It's a pretty
However,
awesome photo.
yeah, I gotta say I'm a huge fan. I don't, people talking about the Iowa State comments are funny because Iowa State is just trying to be any color but Iowa State's colors because they're horrendous. But at least there's
Yeah,
black shirts. At least there's a tie in here, and it's not like the
yeah,
first. Not like Nebraska hasn't worn the all black uni before. It's very similar to another alternate we had before.
yeah. It was the year we played UCLA in Lincoln, where they had I think it was a black face mask that faded into red.
Yes, it had the
And it had
red
the
on it.
black shirt logos on the shoulder sleeves, I believe. Those were really
Yeah, I have
clean.
that jersey.
I like people are like, oh, well, Nebraska doesn't have black in their uniforms. I like, well, 100%. Yes, they do. They're called the black shirts for the defense. And like, I've never understood why they've never leaned into that more as an alternate they can rotate in more than once a year. Now, I know Coach Rules said they're going to wear them once a year. But like, why can't we do it 2, 3, 4 times a year?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm glad we have an alternate now.
Yeah, that one's it's permanent for one time a year.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just glad we have an alternate. Feels different because for the first time ever, we have a top OC in the country to start the season. Holgerson will be huge. Cannot explain how much Holgerson is the main. Without Holgerson, my confidence would not be this anywhere remotely near where it is. Just because I think it's just because I watched so much film of that offense under Satterfield, but it was bad. But yes, Holgerson's going to have this offense moving, flowing. He's going to have this offense like doing a whole bunch of different things, but it's going to be so simplistic that it's going to be hard for them to make mistakes. And that's what I appreciate about what we're going to see out there is he's going to put them in simple in positions to where it's going to maybe look complex at times, but it's going to be very simple on their end, and it's going to limit the mistakes that they're going to be able to make. It's about what they call operational risk management, limiting the amount of things that can go wrong.
See, we could be getting these same reports out of fall camp with Satterfield as the OC and not feel as confident as we do now because there is a track record with Satterfield not performing as an offensive coordinator. And I think you hit the nail on the head, and that comment he hit the nail on the head. If it was anybody but Holgerson, we're probably not feeling as good because he's got 15, 20 years of elite offenses to back up what we're hearing. And that's why, it's the least of my concerns is what this offense is going to do. And they're going to do a lot of freaking awesome things here in 9 days.
Here's another thing too. I think, with it being Holgerson, like you said, I think another aspect is not only that his experience, but I think the biggest thing for me is like, I know Holgerson's and like, we all know Holgerson's no nonsense. Like if you make a mistake, like you're riding the pine, and like we know 100% for a fact that he has a track record of accountability. And when is the last time we've for sure 100% knowingly seen a track record of accountability for mistakes?
Gosh, it's been a long time. You think back to when he first started and you saw some other players playing at other positions. I don't want to get into naming names, but they weren't people that you saw a lot of the first, 8 weeks of the year. And that's exactly what that was. It was accountability. It was his expectations, his standards. And if player X wasn't meeting them, he went from 30 snaps, 40 snaps a game to maybe 10 or 12 snaps a game. And then maybe 2 weeks later was playing back to 30 because he had to get to the standard, get to the expectations.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's open about it. And I think that's another thing that I was thinking about is just it's his no nonsense attitude, and there's going to be a level of accountability that I don't know if we necessarily trusted was in place in previous years, at least from the coordinators. So Someone please help understand why is Nebraska versus Cincinnati being played in Arrowhead? Neutral site games or neutral
It
site
was
game.
originally supposed to be a home and home with Cincinnati, but then COVID happened, so we shut down the series. And then it was supposed to be played at Lucas Oil Stadium, but Arrowhead came calling and basically said we can guarantee more sales and ticket revenue, et cetera. And then Nebraska convinced Cincinnati to play an away game 3 hours away from Nebraska because they knew Nebraska was going to sell out the stadium.
Yep. And there's going to be a lot of Husker red in there, that's for sure. Howdy, fellas. Go Big Red, man. What's going on? Let's see. Oh, yeah. And shout out to Rashawn. Great day, fellas. Appreciate you hopping in here, Rashawn. Per usual, man. Excited to see Mackay go off this season.
He's going to be the number 2 back going into Cincinnati.
Going to be a damn good back, too. It's going to be fun to watch.
I'm excited.
It's going to be a coming out party. So we're going to be celebrating here. Post games, right after the game goes final. Right after the game goes final. The post game starts here. Just so y'all remember that. Don't forget that. I am here, just made mint tea. Good to know, Bone Lead. Are the Butlers related? I need a butler. I got tickets to Nebraska's versus Cincinnati game today. I'm ready. Let's go. Six Holler. That's an interesting YouTube name. Appreciate you being in here, though. I don't know if I've seen that before. Hope you have a good time out there, man. David Hudak, Unis are badass. Yes, they are. The offense should make a huge jump this year. I agree.
Yep.
Dang, I'm late. Stupid class. What a better late than never, Ron T. Appreciate you hopping in here. What's going on? John Dianimo from the Michigan channel. Thank you for jumping in. Those are the best looking black alts they've revealed yet. Smart choice, just using 2 colors. I kind of like it. Simple. You know,
that's the perfect way to describe it. They kept it simple and it looked clean.
I think, you know, the crazy thing is if you do too much with it, Nebraska fans lose their mind because they did too much with it. So I think they just tried to do something subtle, and they did.
Well,
and people still complain.
Yeah. Do you remember the year they had the duct tape numbers against Illinois?
Yeah.
All reds with the duct tape colored numbers.
It was the aesthetic was terrible. Those, oh my gosh.
The only thing anyone remembers about that game is Randy Gregory potentially killing somebody on a football field.
Yeah, true. Oh yeah, we were at 7K. We dropped right below it. Ooh, unsubscribe.
6,999.
Somebody, if y'all haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Let us get 7,000 because we don't ask for subscribers. I'm terrible about that. I should do better about that. I'm good at talking to football. It's about it. If you take a player out for being for bad performance during the game, wouldn't be bad enough if in front of parents. Wait, if you take a player out for bad performance during the game, wouldn't that be bad enough if in front of parents?
I literally got benched in the middle of the game, and then my coach cussed me out in the locker room. And I didn't see the second half, so it is what it is.
I think I'm confused by that. If you screw up, you get benched.
It happened to me. I don't care.
Grown adults. I want to thank you both for getting us through the spring, summer, and into the fall. You guys did a wonderful job. Hey, I appreciate it, David, man. Thank you so much, man. I was not able to record a bunch of content this off season due to work and me starting the business and training for my bout, which fell through, unfortunately. So, but I'm telling you, we're going to have videos every single day for y'all coming up to this season. So everything is lining up nicely, and we're going to keep it rolling, keep the content coming for y'all, keep it fun and exciting. I got some segments planned up for the season that y'all are going to have weekly too. I think y'all are going to like, so stay tuned. Appreciate you, Sean. Let's go have a blackout versus USC. Had to bring up Kool-Aid. Now I get a gallon of black cherry. Still pissed they got rid of the green flavor. I can't tell you last time I had Kool-Aid, man. It's all right, John. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Without you, we would never ask for subscribers. Next day, I'll have to take him to Aragon Steakhouse. It's fire. That sounds. I could go for. I have no idea what that is. I could go for a nice steak right now, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. That just got me hungry. All right, let's go ahead and dive into John Butler. We talked about the offense a little bit, so let's go ahead and dive in. Oh, promise to take him for his first TD. That's awesome, man. Oh yeah,
nice.
That'll be fun. Let's go ahead and dive into John Butler and the defensive backs. And you know, you kind of mentioned this to me earlier, so I'll let you kind of go ahead and take it away with kind of your question here.
So yeah, he's talking about, his statement was like, we're going to play as physical as the referees will allow us, and what the pros and the cons to doing that are. And you see, I mean, the NFL, I think, is very physical with the secondary to an extent. my initial con is we're going to see a lot of handsy penalties. And you're going to see them very early potentially, or if they're not called, then you're going to see them just amp up that aggressiveness. But my question is how high is that risk? How high is that reward when you're they're going to be handsy. You know what I mean? They're going to be bumping and running at 5 yards. They're going to be trying to get away with every little thing they can. And that's the NFL way, where I think in college, they're very more apt to not let the players play, ironically.
Yeah. And I think that's where the discipline aspect of this is going to be very, very important, because that will be the difference between playing aggressive and playing dirty. Now, when he's talking about aggression, probably to the point that they'll allow us to, of course, as we know, refereeing is very subjective. But part of the thing is you have to come out and kind of, I guess, get a feel for, or get a feel, not only get a feel for the officials' tone that they're setting, but also come out and set the tone, you know? So come out and set that tone of like, we're going to be playing aggressive, so that way the referee can see that. But you know what the aggression is, it's necessary, because otherwise, without the aggression, you end up leading yourselves to a lot of penalties as well, grabbing penalties and stuff, because you know, aggression at the top of the routes, you can disrupt routes off the line, you know, timing, throw off the timing. And now we got spread them out, RPO, quick throw, you know, offenses that, you know, if you can't bump a guy off the line, if you can't bump a guy at the top of his route, or you don't, then you end up reaching out to grab him. If he gets a step on you and stuff like that, that also leads to penalties. So, you know, it's one of those things where if this team's going to be, you know, a team that wants to be the bully and not the bullied, they're going to have to be able to come out and do that. It helps you in the run game, which is the biggest part of John Butler's, you know, defense, is just stopping the run. Physical defensive backs that, you know, that aren't afraid to come down, fill tackles at the edge, and mentally frustrate those receivers. But again, it all comes down to discipline. If you don't have that, you're going to get flagged every single time. The illegal context, DPIs, you got to know what you're able to get away with and what you're not. Like in boxing, we call it dirty boxing, right? Because there's a couple things you can do a few times, but once you get that warning, then you got to be a little bit smarter about it, you know, and you got to be. So I think the reason why he feels comfortable doing this is because he trusts where their discipline is at. But also I think he just wants to just come out and make sure he sets that tone initially, that when that defense hits the field, everybody knows it, that they're going to be playing aggressive. So if they're calling ticky-tack fouls, you know, but I guarantee you, if they do call ticky-tack fouls, he's not going to back the aggression off that much. He's going to go out there and he's going to let them play and play their brand of football. It's going to be one of those factors where they're going to have to come out and just try to find a way to make it work. And I think that's where, you know, when the defense becomes second nature and what you're doing and reacting becomes second nature, like then those things become a lot easier for you. You know, less thinking, more reacting, less grabbing. You know, I think the defense is in a position right now to where each individual person is doing their job well enough, to where we're not going to have too many issues with that. But I think he's smart enough to know he's been there through the college ranks, the NFL ranks, to know, like, you know, here's how we get away with this a little more. Here's how, you know, we don't, vice versa. So there is a give and a take, but I feel like in this style that they want to play, in his style of defense, they got to come out and set that tone for sure.
I think we're going to see it really quickly against Cincinnati, because they're going to come out and they're going to want to run the ball, you know, 55, 60% of the time. And I guess my prediction based off his comments is that you're going to see a lot of man-to-man coverage. You're going to see a lot of press man coverage, because they're going to dare Cincinnati to throw the ball, and they're not going to want to, because they're not a good throwing team. So I'm really curious when you go against a team that can air it out a little bit, maybe like a USC, or I'm trying to think on the schedule here. I think Penn State will probably be able to air it out a little bit. Obviously, they're going to be very physical, but I'm curious how that translates when you play a team that's going to throw it 30 times a game, and they're not going to be scared to test you at all.
Yeah. The one big thing about his defense, you know, it's aggression. It's aggression that's not, you know, it's not reckless aggression, right? It's schemed, prepared aggression. So it's not a matter of just going out there and playing fast. It's disguising, communicating, attacking them with discipline. But the thing about, I think, when you're talking about the reason why his defense is rooted in stopping the run. I looked at the PFF grades earlier. I think our run defense grade in that game was our second highest of the entire season, which is pretty impressive against Boston College. So, but another aspect of this too is Addison Williams that we got to factor in there too, because Addison Williams' style of coaching defensive backs is very downhill aggressive too, and that's where he fits right in with Butler's. They both have a very similar style of how they want their defensive backs to play, but they've also had defensive backfields that have produced insane passing numbers against in terms of efficiency. They've had Addison Williams' pass defense efficiency at UCF were some of the highest numbers in top 25 in college football each year was there, after that team ranked 100 something in that category before he got there. Yeah. So it's like it's detail, toughness, technique. I think we're going to probably see them pressing a lot more this year, and I think that's part of what's going to just help take some of the risk away in that regard too. Because again, I think being able to press guys at the line and being able to hold guys back at the line is going to keep some of those quick throws from happening. It's going to keep these offenses from getting into the rhythm that they want to. But but I think the defensive backs, like, I think his rotation, what was it? Was it 2 deep, 3 deep corner, 2 deep safety? Is that what he said?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure though.
Yeah, I think it was 2 deep corner or 3 deep corner or something like that. I can't remember. It was one of the two. But like, if you go through like if you look at John Butler's like coaching past, which I'm sure a lot of us have, but you look at the Penn State, he was over there for a little bit. Then he went over to the NFL, was with the Texans for a little bit, developed AJ Boye over there, was with the Bills. And that's where he kind of learned the chess game, disguised, rotations, sub packages. And that's where his philosophy evolved. I feel like he learned kind of the fundamentals, kind of back when he was in his college days, but also tailored it to that Big Ten physicality and that identity. And I feel like that path in general kind of helped him kind of in a totality be prepared for this situation now, because that's what kind of gets it to more of a prepared aggression. Like, he already knows kind of what he's in for here. Has seen every offense that somebody could throw at his defense. They've developed defensive backs, they develop defenses, they develop aggressive style defenses that are risk reward, but win more than they don't, and are disciplined in the same fact. You'll see Addison Williams' teams weren't penalized a lot. So, man, Butler's defense is going to be fun to watch, and it's not going to be more risky than it was last year, because I think they're going to be able to bring a lot of things without bringing extra pressure or bringing extra guys or doing this, that, and the third. It's just going to be giving them different looks that will throw them off enough.
And I see people online, Facebook or X, even on YouTube, where they're like, well, what are we running? Are we going to be a 4-3? Are we going to be a 3-4, 3-3-5, 4-2-5? And people are getting so fixated on the number scheme, whether it's 3-4-4-3. I could care less what it is, because, like you said, it's going to be multiple. And they threw in a nice little nugget the previous press conference, where they said they're going to have they have packages where there's multiple jack linebackers on the field. So you could easily be in a 4-3 base with one of those being a hand in the dirt jack linebacker, and right next to him or on the other side is a stand-up jack linebacker. You could see that be Dasan McCullough, Willis McGahee, Jordan Ochoa, who is, developing at quite a rapid rate, which is a topic for another day. But, I think just to go with that aggressiveness, it's not just the secondary. I think it's that whole back seven is going to be incredibly physical, incredibly aggressive with variations of blitzes where they're coming from, where you could see that jack drop back into coverage, and then that safety is actually the one that's coming on the blitz, or something something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like it's more so ski. It's not necessarily like, okay, this 4-3, or it's more so relying on the schematics of, disguise, zone pressures, and that type of thing, press man, like those type of details of the line. But it's kind of like I just mentioned the word detail. It's what it is. It's the devil's in the details there. What you'll notice is just aggression, safeties flying downhill, like linebackers will attack gaps, like corners play tight coverage. There's a violence about the look of it. It looks relentless, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily have to be aggressive in the way it's called. And that's what I like about it. Again, aggression isn't reckless. It's not chaos. It's controlled discipline and like calculated. That's what makes him good as a defensive coordinator. And again, it's one of those things. He's going to be constantly rotating guys so that way they kind of stay fresh in the fourth quarter. 21 guys rotated through that Boston College game. You probably have 18, 20 guys taking meaningful snaps. Then again, you have 3 deep corner, 2 deep at safety, heavy rotations on the defensive line. But that constant, rotation keeps that aggression alive late when, a lot of defenses wear down. Penn State, they rotated like 27 guys to their defense, I think, over the course of last season. It might have been more than that. 27 plus guys play meaningful snaps. But, it's just the hallmark of the defense. I'll tell you here, first and foremost, the biggest thing is just communication. That's drilling communication. Kind of like he was talking about where linebackers, the safeties are typically the ones that set the play. They set the table and confirm alignments and stuff like that. But he was talking about the linebackers stepping up and doing that too. So you have multiple leaders from different position groups, and each of them holding, each other to that standard, and that communication and that on-field communication right there just shows the example of like what we're talking about. I mean, the devil's in the details, and again, just the disguise coverages they're going to show, rolling cover 3, or cover 3, maybe cover 3 shell, roll over to man, aggressive, like with his zone pressures. It's a numbers game, dictate the terms of the play instead of just reacting. And that's what I think, is the biggest thing between him and Tony White. That's the biggest difference right there between him and Tony White.
Well, and apparently Tony White has a bunch of players who are struggling to give effort. I don't know if you saw that clip a week or 2 ago, but that was kind of wild. I've never heard him say that at Nebraska.
I did. That was interesting to say the least. Let's see here. Sorry, let me go back. Had to bring up Kool-Aid. Oh yeah, I heard top of that. Let's see. Please like the video. It's too many of us to not like the video. Appreciate that, Ron. Thank you. Sorry, I can't read very quickly. Appreciate that, Ron, man. Thank you so much. Hi, kids. What's going on, Pit Snipe? Love the chrome whites they use against Northwestern. Yeah, I like those as well.
Those are plain.
Worst alternates, got to say, jockstrap helmets.
Yeah.
Our rendition of the leather helmets.
Didn't Green Bay do that this year?
Yeah, but they did. They made them look good. Ours looked like a jockstrap.
Yeah, that's true.
Hold on. I'll pull those up. What was your
favorite? There was another, my favorite? I'd probably go with the blackouts versus UCLA. Tied with the one that we're talking about right now, the all chrome whites for Northwestern. Yep. That was really clean. I don't really count like the when they did the 95, I think it was a 95 uniform tributes, like those ones where you're honoring another team. All you're doing is remaking an old uniform.
Yeah,
that one's like garbage.
This looks like they slapped a jock strap on a helmet and said, print that out. This was terrible.
Yeah, that one was bad.
Let's see. I think the chrome whites that he's talking about were my favorite too. Will there be roughing the center? Let's see. I'm okay with a few more penalties if that play leads to sacks and turnovers. Agreed.
Yep. Thank you.
Frankly, I'd like to see some illegal roughness penalties on our O&D line. I don't even know if that's an actual penalty, but unnecessary roughness.
Unnecessary roughness.
Honestly, saw some Piazza Clemens heat today. Butler rules messages feel similar. We might bean you. Yeah. I mean, Beaning's baseball, dang it. Yeah, I'm aware. Pit Snipe. I got that when you said Piazza Clemens. Toothless aggression. You got to you got to toe the lines of authorized assault if you want to even know where those lines are at on any given Sunday. Balding aggression. That describes me well. I want to see both lines play nasty with an edge. If both lines hold up, this could be a special season. Both lines are definitely going to play nasty with an edge. I already know that.
Yeah. No question.
3-3-5 sets can essentially move to 4-3s, 3-4s, 5-2s, and something like this. It's going to just be a multiplicity of things. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of movement, but yes, attempt to diagnose every snap and cause chaos. You're just trying to cause as much pre-snap confusion as you possibly can. We ain't balding bone. I'll grow enough. I'm just too tall for my hair. Okay. The lens flares on this show are feeling kind of ambresque. You know what? The fact that I don't know how to pronounce that word, I feel like I should.
It's probably the light reflecting off of our heads, I guess.
I mean, I really have any light reflecting. I mean, mine just looks like a normal forehead.
I can untwist that bulb real quick if need be. It is distracting.
Yours is kind of shiny. A 5-3-3 or 6-1 D is good. Yeah, just one D lineman. What's your favorite place to watch the game? I'm by myself, no kids, no wifey, in the garage with a couple brews. Brian, what's your favorite place to watch the game?
Outside of Memorial Stadium? Well, when I get to my new house, where the office is, where we're going to be doing our shows, I'm thinking about putting a big TV in the office, and that's going to be my quiet space where I can rage for 4 hours straight.
Yeah, there's I do enjoy going to the games, of course. However, due to my anxiety, it's much more peaceful for me to think about, and there's a lot. It's much more calming for me to think about being in the comfort of my own home, and watching the game and being able to crash out and the privacy of my own home and not on other people, so I don't get arrested. No, but I do I do kind of just watching from home. I love going to the games, but it's just there's a lot.
I just crash out in the stands, and if someone gets offended, then oh well.
If I lived in Nebraska, there would be less to it. It's just the fact that exactly. The fact that I got to fly to Nebraska and do all that. Otherwise, if I lived in Nebraska, it'd be going to the game for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm a 4-2 guy, but I'm a white trash 8-man guy. I'm confused. I'd have a hard time leaving that crunch, David. I like my throne on game days. Justin powdered before the show. Manmers. Pit Snipe.
What is happening?
What are you talking about, my guy? You're talking about some powder. I think you might be on some powder. I have a vault that I watch games and no one is allowed without the code. I fit that. That's right on brand with you, Bone Lab. All right. And then what was the other thing? I know we have one more thing to talk about before we wrap up here.
Raiola making the best throws that no one's ever seen, apparently.
Go ahead.
But I think we saw that pretty early last year. I mean, think back to the UTEP game where he was sliding up the pocket kind of to the left and then bends backwards, sidearms around the offensive lineman to a streaking Isaiah Nair on a deep dig route.
However, that was fantastic. That was a fantastic throw. I will say though that I feel like that was a perfect storm of Dylan Raiola Farstar coming out of the offseason. This was the first pass that he made. And I think it got a little crazy because it was a simple, the concept was designed to kind of do that, but it was the way he kind of did that and just changed the arm angle, of course.
Yeah.
But is it just me, or did that then kind of just set almost too high of an expectation, right?
Oh man, that was when everyone goes, okay, this kid's like Mahomes.
And then
that was probably the worst thing for him, actually.
Then that deep touchdown on the sideline to Nair.
Yeah, the throw I think of that was the most impressive to me from Dylan, it was last year, and it's going to sound stupid, but it was on the opening drive against UTEP, and it was 2nd and 30. and he hit Banks on a deep. I think it was a post route, if I'm not mistaken, but he feathered it over a linebacker and under a safety, and Banks kind of sat in that zone, and he just still and feathered the ball perfectly. And I remember I was sitting in the stands with my wife, and that was the throw where I go, this kid is unreal. And it looked so easy because he executed so perfectly, but it's not an easy throw because it was from the right hash to the left hash. That ball traveled 40 plus yards in the air, and it was delivered on the strike.
I'm trying to think back to a throw I thought was his best. I cannot quite off the top of my head, but yeah, when it comes to, you know, and with Dana, you know, saying like, because he made it seem like he hadn't seen these throws like ever. You know what I'm saying? So that's another aspect of it too. But I think part of that just him kind of just alluding to just how much arm talent that him alluding to the fact that Raiola has probably more arm talent than he's ever seen as a coach ever. And
you know what's crazy?
I think that's kind of what he's alluding to there is with him making some of those throws. I just think he's capable of throws that quarterbacks he's had have never been they haven't been able to make.
Yep. And the crazy part is Pat White was his quarterback at West Virginia.
Yep.
Who was a Heisman Trophy finalist, if I'm not mistaken.
Him or Steve Slayton had to have been up there.
Yeah, but he's had like a history of pretty damn good quarterback play, and him staying at Nebraska was contingent on Dylan Raiola staying at Nebraska. And the fact that I think you're 100% right. I think he realizes he has the best quarterback he's ever seen, at least that he's coached in 20 years plus.
That's a scary thought, though, because
it is.
Think about some of the things that he might be able to do that he hasn't been able to do before. You know, and that's another element of this offense that, you know, we may have seen some things, you know, last year, but, you know, there's no limits to what this offense can do because of who we got at quarterback. Sometimes I feel like we almost take Dylan for granted. It's almost like just because like we have that sure thing at quarterback, like we don't talk enough just about like how good he is, you know. But fact that he's going to open so many doors for his offense. If you give Holgorsen another door of opportunities to play with, another, you know, then that is another reason why I don't even think we understand the ceiling of this offense just yet, because of those couple things. Like Holgorsen's never had a quarterback with this ability, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And he's turned receivers, and, you know, you got guys like Tank, like the sky's the limit, not only because of what he's done, but because of what he has that he hasn't had before.
Yeah, and he's had some dudes going back to mainly his West Virginia days, and I think last year, comparatively speaking, weapons-wise, is I think most of those guys that were on this team last year at the skill positions outside of Emma Johnson probably don't even get into the rotation on this current roster, talking specifically at wide receiver. That's the part that I think it may be a slow start versus Cincinnati. Hell, that first game might look rough, but check back in week 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 once they've all started actually being, you know, in the live flying bullets together for a few weeks, and just watch that offense take off. I think there is a lot of hype around this offense, and it's natural to want that to come quickly because of who your early opponents are. But I think when we're talking about this offense in October, November, you're going to be looking at a pretty damn good offense, and it could click right away. I just want to cautious. We're pretty hyped about it, but let's also understand that early season usually is kind of confusing.
Yeah. Quick question. Do we have official prediction for week 1 from you? Official score prediction. Let's actually, maybe should we do this? Should we do this like a weekly thing?
Yeah, we can do that. Like on the call-in show, we can do like everybody that calls in gives us our score prediction.
Let's do a score prediction. Me and you dueling, right? And then we also have somebody call in and do it, and then we'll keep track throughout the season.
Okay. If I had to give a score prediction right now, I think Nebraska wins by 17. So I don't want to do the quick math in my head. I'm just going to guesstimate it. You're looking at a I mean, 34-17 is a 17-point win, but I don't know if Cincinnati even scores 17. So let's do 31-13 just for the sake of the discussion. 31-13 Nebraska.
31-13. Okay.
Which I think is still 17 points. Or close.
So, don't want to go crazy here. Do I?
Depends on how much Kool-Aid you've drank today.
Damn. I feel like I want to go like crazy in the Kool-Aid, bro. Because I'm thinking more like I just want to be out there. Let's go 42-13. Drank some Kool-Aid. 42-13. 42-13. What was your what was the because what was yours?
31-13.
31-13. So yeah, I had to find a way to get it. I wanted to be a bigger win than yours, but let's be reasonable. So you said 31. I say 38-13. 38-13.
Those are two pretty decisive wins too.
Very decisive.
And that what I think if you come out and you do that, regardless of how the first two quarters look or the first three, if that's your final score, I think when that score is scrolling on the ticker on ESPN, people are going to go, okay, wow, that's impressive because we have the exact same over/under at 7.5 Cincinnati.
Yep.
Look at that. Perfect. 31-13.
Is Brian done with homelessness? We need an update. He's absolutely not. His house has been foreclosed, and if you have not seen, they seized his assets, so he no longer has a computer.
Yeah.
Right now, he's filming on a TI 84 Plus calculator. So, R.I.P. Brian's home. 35-10.
I'm in my home right now. I'm just, everything's packed.
45-6. So we got 35-10. We had 31-13, 35-10, 45-16. David, I like it. Pitts Knight, 48-10, 2 field goals. Brian has seen my comment. Brian, did you see his comment? Oh, yeah.
I'm on my phone, so I can't see any of the comments until they get pulled up.
He actually can't. 48-17, Steven. 42-13. I hope so. Me too. Me and Hudak close. I think that's nearly proof of what's going to happen. Just don't see Rule running up the score like that. It's not going to be running up the score. There's no such thing as running up the score. It's called
running up the score if TJ Lateef, takes your team 70 yards.
I think it's going to be a not letting off the gas approach. But yeah, they're definitely gonna. But if I just think our scheme is good enough to be able to, and our defense is deep enough to be able to kind of hold their backups, and I think our offense is good enough to be able to kind of just establish the run and kind of be able. I think they'll score. They're going to come out and just run the offense. They're going to run a balanced offense. They're going to be able to score. I still think on the.
I think the big difference between Holgorsen and Satterfield as offensive coordinators is go look at the Northern Iowa game and the Colorado game last year where Nebraska was throttling them, and the second half they shut it down. Yeah. And then you look at the Wisconsin game where Holgorsen never stopped throwing. There was a drive with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he came out and he aired it out because he knew if I go score a touchdown here, there's literally nothing they can do, and that's going to be Holgorsen. He's going to go there. He's going to cut your throat with a knife, and then when he's done doing that, he's going to hit you in the back.
You think about it this way, like style points matter, and we're in the day and age of college football playoff. Like the eye test matters still, and if you go out there and you go up on them 35-10. And the third quarter comes and you let off and it ends up 35, 27. That doesn't look good. So they're I don't think they're going to get comfortable with any lead, but 38-13 or better would be ideal. Holgorsen's going to run his damned offense, just make sure his lads can just execute a game plan.
Yep.
I think we're in a good position for that. So, all right. Well, that catches us up on the comments here. So, Brian, is there anything else before we conclude the show, sir?
Nope. I think we're good. We will have a call-in show Friday. So Apologies for getting sick on Friday last week.
Yeah, apologies for smashing my head up. I sent Brian the picture. It was pretty gnarly. But it wasn't very wide. Wait, how to do this? There we go. It wasn't very wide, so like it healed up pretty quickly. Thank God. But yeah, your boy was beat up and Brian was over there sick. So call-in show will be Friday, and the Thursday post game will be right after the game, immediately following the game. So we will put the link in there too if people want to hop in that as well. But post game is going to be fun. I mean, literally as soon as that. Listen, I was doing post games last year. There was another channel that started doing post games that wasn't supposed to. Kind of stepped on my toes and started doing them immediately after the game, or like 15 minutes after the game, the same time as me. So I'm as soon as the game goes final. I'm the one channel that was as soon as the game goes final, I'm hitting my post game, starting it up. So if anybody else does that this year, they took my idea. So be ready as soon as the game hits 0. Y'all can have that baby up. And we might actually do watch party. I was thinking about doing a watch party. Did one last year on our Big Ten show. So I was thinking about doing another one. They're a pretty good time. So we do the watch party. We're rolling into the post game. So we'll be having all that coming for you this year. But yep, next week, Friday, we will have our Tuesday, we'll have our show as usual. Friday, we'll have our call-in show. And then Thursday, we'll have the game / post game. But I mean, Brian, what was your final season prediction before we go? Forget to ask.
9-3.
9-3?
Yep. Losses to Penn State, Minnesota, and USC. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, I think USC.
Okay.
I could be crazy though.
I'm gonna go 10-2. I just because I don't want to be 9-3 with you.
You can ask me this question literally Tuesday next week, and I'm going to have spent an entire week looking at the schedule. You know what? I'm thinking 11-1. And then on game day, I'm going to look at the schedule and I go, you know what? I'm thinking we have a chance to win the title this year.
Yep.
That's me every single year.
Agreed. I'm just thinking we will hold some things close to our vest, say for another game. Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. Michigan game is going to be big.
Yeah, I agree. Can't stop Dilly throwing tutties. It's going to get out of control. That's another reason why I don't know, necessarily how much we're going to rest the guys week 1, because we have weeks 2 and week 3 to worry about that. Well, if we get up by that, I'm assuming, let's say we get up by that amount. Okay. I know Nebraska fans, we can't assume anything. I get it. Game 2 and 3 starters will be hourly. I bet. I just talked about that. Yep. Jay, you wear headgear on a regular basis, right? For boxing, your boy, no, I don't like headgear. Nope. That's why I get cut and bruised. Headgear blocks my vision, dude. And I don't care if I get cut or bruised or hit. Like, it just it slides around, because then it slips over your eyes and then you're blind, so you get hit more, and blocks your peripheral vision. And yeah, so not a big fan of headgear. And then it doesn't stop your brain from rattling. That's one thing people don't understand. Headgear doesn't stop brain damage. Brain still rattles all the less. No names. But it was somebody who had agreed to do the post games with me and then decided to just start doing them on their own without telling me 1 week. So I'm sure they will save a few surprises for Michigan. Oh, I guarantee you they will. Yeah. 16-0. Anything else? Yeah. All right. Love it, Pit Snipe. 9-3. Nebraska gets its first dub versus USC this year. Well, hopefully we have a lot more wins than I'm a dumbass.
First time beating USC, I think.
I thought you were saying we lose every game going until the USC game. So, Michael, I was like, don't bring that negativity here. Boy stuff, you are correct. We are dealing with boy stuff. I will return him to you soon. Dilly Bars, we're trying to get Raiola at Berkshire, and Bill, man. I trust you to block your cranium. You shouldn't, because obviously there's a lot of brain damage going on up here, man. I want 10-2, 11-1. I want that too. Regular season.
Yeah, that would put us in the playoffs.
Josh Pate put us in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He had his 12th?
11 seed versus Notre Dame first round, which we would just take over Notre Dame Stadium again, like we did in 2001.
That's they have a video of that on YouTube too, by the way. Pretty sick.
That's That's the game where Eric Crouch, I think, if I'm not mistaken, just like absolutely ran over a Notre Dame defender in the corner of the end zone to basically seal the game.
No, Eric Crouch that was Iowa.
That was Iowa? Okay, yeah. Oh, it was Iowa. I remember that
One
now.
of my
Yeah.
favorite runs of all time. So when's that fight, Jay? It is not happening now. It fell through. No fault of mine. So yes, very frustrating because I was training my ass off and stuff beyond my control. So trying for the beginning of next year. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that because it's frustrating to me how it all went down. Ruin Penn State. Yes, let's ruin Penn State. All right. Well, Sandusky did that already. All right, Brian. Anyways, so like I said, Tuesday we'll have our show. This Friday we will be doing our call-in show. Next Tuesday we have our show per usual, and then Thursday, Friday, again we have the game on Thursday. Post game Friday we'll have our call-in show. So y'all stay tuned for that. We also got some stuff coming up in the lead up of the season here. Brian, nothing else before we conclude here?
Nothing at all. Go Big Red, baby.
Go Big Red. It's all right, Pit Snipe, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You can, make it up to me by just being here with us during the season, which I know you will be, along with the rest of y'all. So again, thank y'all. If y'all tune in every week, thank you so much. Season's almost here. We have almost survived the off season. So Husker football will be with us very, very soon. And then you can listen to us actually talk about games. So I'm sure you all appreciate that very much. But that being said, we will see y'all in the next video. Peace.